when you hear Jonathan, when he used to say that he had to really create something that would keep him on the show. And I don't know how he worked this out, but he became like this kind of, scaredy cat
lovable
person.
Buffoon.
Yeah, buffoon.
Yeah.
Perfect word.
The truth was, Smith would have been killed off after 6 or 7 episodes.
And he knew that, too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did, and he was very aware of it, so he changed the character. He shifted him into a
Bill's
little
channeling John right.
A bit of humor here and there.
He
and
wanted to keep the part.
One day, Irwin Allen came up to him and he said, "I know what you're doing. Do more."
He liked it, huh?
That's what he said.
That's what he did, and he continued to do it, and the rest is television history. Oh, dear.
When the series finally ended, your numbers were pretty good. Much better than the Star Trek ever did.
Well, Star Trek certainly has gone on to wonderful things.
It became its cult thing.
The numbers were good, and actually when we wrapped the end of the 3rd season, and in today's numbers it would have been more like 4 seasons because we did 80 some episodes, 83 I think, but after the 3rd season we went on hiatus and we were all told we'd be back. The show was actually picked up for a 4th season, and then there are varying stories on this, but what we've basically pretty much come to accept as the truth is that Irwin didn't get his scripts turned into the network on time, and the network wanted scripts, and Irwin was fussing around with that, and then we just went to the cornfield.
I had heard that old Bill Paley at the time, who head up CBS and basically was the founder, didn't want sci-fi on his show, on his network, and kind of eased it out.
That might have certainly something to do with it. I was brokenhearted because we never
suspected it.
Here you were with when you do any television series, of course, even if you're a little kid, things come to an end.
Right.
But when you work with the same people for over 3 years, and then you're told, you're going away for an 8-week hiatus and you'll be back. Nobody had any kind of well, goodbye, it's been great. We just said, see you in a few months, and then...
So it's a good thing we get together every now and then. And
we do. It is one big dysfunctional family. 40 years later, the cast of Lost in Space still actually gets together just to socialize. It's kind of kooky.
I saw on your website you had pictures of a party that you just had, or a little get-together.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, it was Jonathan Harris's wife who passed away last year. And so we got together on what would have been her birthday celebration, and we always had gotten together for it. So we decided to get together once again. And it's just great to see everybody, see Marta.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Why don't you two give your websites out? Bill, of course, it's BillMumy.com, BillMumy.com.
Thank you.
And Angela, you've got a couple, right?
I do. I have my showbiz one, which is Angela-Cartwright.com, and also my art website, which is acartwrightstudio.com.
Oh, simple enough. Simple enough. Hey, when we come back, we're going to take some phone calls, continue chatting. Bill, you're going to sing a song for us, I hear?
If you insist.
Well, I won't insist, but I think you will.
Yes, I will.
We'll do that. And we've got some bumper music, Danny? Okay, great. And when you call, we'll give you the numbers in a moment. Put down whether you want to talk with Bill or Angela or both. Gina's here for Tom, who's a little bit under the weather tonight. I'm George Noory, and we'll be back in a moment on Coast to Coast AM. Do you know Coast to Coast is one of the few syndicated programs that broadcasts 7 nights a week, all the time? And on Saturday nights, hosted by none other than Ian Punnett. Hey, Ian, how are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
That's okay, and you, of course, will be one of our cabinet members.
I've been hearing about this. Is that Billy Mumy's music, or is that Barnes and Barnes? Because I remember his Barnes and Barnes music.
Well, this is from the brand new solo album. It's just a Bill Mumy project, but yes, Barnes and Barnes, who brought you such goodies as fish heads and we're talking about doing another project together next year after quite a long hiatus.
Well, you've done terrific work, very interesting, and also Angela, nice to hear you on the air, and I loved your work, of course, and your sister's work in Alien, which always cracks me up to see her in that movie.
It cracks you up? It scares the out of me.
It just always threw me off to see that. I just always loved that. I thought that was just such an unusual part to see her in. So I love that. Yeah, tomorrow night. Sorry about that, George.
That's okay.
You might have. You've got such great guests. I couldn't help but sponge off you for a second. Tomorrow night, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Science Meets Legend. It's the new book on Bigfoot, and we're talking about all of the latest verifiable evidence, and we'll relate that to the stories that are going on right now in Florida, Pennsylvania, and other places where the sightings continue tomorrow night on Coast to Coast AM.
Sounds exciting. Hey, Ian, you have a great weekend, too.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great show.
Okay. And
Bye, Ian.
We'll be back in a moment. Bill Mumy, Angela Cartwright on Coast to Coast AM. Okay, welcome back to Coast. I'm George Noory with Bill Mumy and Angela Cartwright. At the end of this hour, Bill's going to play one of his songs live. He's got his guitar here. Woo. Angela, have you ever heard him play the guitar? Is he good?
Back in the old days, green sleeves. Yeah, he has always played the guitar as long as I've known him. Oh, yeah. Green sleeves.
Thank you very much. I'll just disappear now.
Yeah, well, he's, gone on to create many, many CDs and great songs. He's just very prolific with his writing.
No pressure.
Let's take some calls here. Let's go east of the Rockies. You're on. Hi there.
Hi, George.
Hello there. Where are you calling from?
I'm leaving Atlanta, heading up to Memphis.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Wait.
That's our truck driver.
I just wanted to first tell Angela that you were a heartthrob to a 10-year-old boy down there in Middle Georgia, a little bitty town in Middle Georgia, and you still are. You're still a fox. I've seen current pictures.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, you're most welcome. I love the show and love your part in it. My question is for Billy. I seen an episode of, I love the show, too. I wanted to be you. Of course, probably a few million kids did. But I seen an episode, I think, of Twilight Zone. You were the boy that made people disappear.
Right.
And I want to know if you were in any other episodes. I remember that one distinctly because I couldn't move. I was, I was mesmerized by that episode.
Well, that was a pretty classic scary episode. It was called It's a Good Life, and I actually was fortunate enough to do 3 of the original Twilight Zones. Did an episode called Long Distance Call, which was in a nutshell the story of a boy whose dead grandmother gives him a toy telephone. And
oh, I did see that one then.
Yeah,
okay.
That was the first one I did, and then It's a Good Life, as you mentioned, and then I did an episode with Jack Klugman called In Praise of Pip. Then I did a small cameo in the feature film. I wrote an episode of the UPN series from 2003, and my daughter Liliana and I, along with Cloris Leachman, did a sequel to It's a Good Life in 2003. So I definitely have my Twilight Zone alumni badge.
Unfortunately, I had to grow up and go to work, and I didn't get to watch a lot of TV. But I tell you what, I wouldn't give anything for my childhood memories, and you and that whole cast were a huge part of it, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. So we enjoyed doing it, believe me.
Okay, thanks, Hank.